Everyone to Panama edition core office hours. We've been on for the beginning of February because we were here in the middle of the magic of PAPE's wedding. So bienvenidos, wherever you are, from Romania, from Latin America, from India, from the United States, from Panama. Welcome. Our mission, everyone knows this, is to empower creative leaders globally, especially here in Latin America, to transform the businesses that they work with, through the magic of design and through the work that we do for our clients. And it's to design a better future together. How do we do that? Today, we're dropping in. We're going to actually talk about core wedding editions, actually, the agenda. That's what we're doing. And like always, I have 4 questions. Core, what is core? And this is where, maybe some other people can answer it. Jeremiah, what is core to you?
Hello, everyone. I'm Jeremiah. For me, core is a way to help me align with my clients and be very intentional in the way that I move with creative projects if we decide to move forward with that. But in addition to that, it allows me to strategically plan, and create a foundation to be able to execute marketing campaigns or whatever it may be for, my clients' products or services.
Beautiful, thank you. That's a really great one. Pape, what's core for you?
Hello, everyone. In one sentence, core is magic for me. The core is magic. But yeah, no, as I was saying to Jose yesterday, for me, more than just a framework, is like a set of glasses from which I view the world. And I'm always looking in how to translate things from real life and using these glasses of core to then view the world from that. It's like the matrix scene where all the numbers are going. Is like you put the core and then you can see either the translation or the code behind. So that's how I see it. It's for me, it's a lifestyle. I believe core, I breathe core, I create with core. I use it for everything. Yeah.
That's beautiful. I love that it's a lifestyle. Thank you for that. And that did give us the URL, coreismagic.com. So super beautiful. All right. So today's drop-in, name, location, what you do, and what is the most transformative travel experience you've ever had, and what made it so. I'll start by modeling it. My name is Jose Caballer. My location right now is Panama City, Panama. Looking at this beautiful, beautiful skyline. And what do? I'm really a designer, but I've learned to become almost, the word brand strategist or UX designer, or all those things, experience design. I like chief experience officer, not only of my life, but of the things that I'm doing and kind of setting the tone and the way that experiences occur, whether they be digital or whether they be real life, like a format like this. And what is the most transformative travel experience I've ever had, and what made it so? And I'm just doing it right up to now. And I said this to you, Pape, and I said it to you a few times during this trip here to Panama. I knew that the trip to Panama was going to be a culmination of the core journey and of many years. But the magical experience of the wedding at the beach in Binao with the psychotropic, kind of overlay, and the friends, Latin American friends, what made it such a transformative experience is that it's arriving at a point where, if I look at my personal core that I did in 2019, everyone that was outlined in that personal core, the people, the users, quote unquote, which we named co-creators, are all kind of like, we're all at the wedding. So I'll have to look that up while other folks are talking, and I'll show it so that we can map it to the pictures that we're going to show of the wedding. So I felt home. I felt in Latin America. I felt this acceptance of not only my own journey, but of who I am and my childhood, and just meeting this creative class of amazing manifesting generators in Panama in such a beautiful setting, and spending what was a king's and queen's wedding timeline, meaning how many weddings last like 7 days of partying, right? Like nonstop, like, just like flowing together. I would say my closing kind of quote, best Burning Man camp ever in the real world. Is the wedding. So I will choose PAPE.
I was just remembering for everyone, the inside joke here now after spending a long time with Jose is every time he talked, everyone would say like, yeah, Burning Man speaking. That was the inside
Somehow
joke.
it ended up being a conversation about Burning Man. Yeah, that
Yeah.
was the inside joke. But, so drop in, who are you?
Yeah, so my name is Aurelio, but I go by Pape. I'm based in Panama City, and I'm an artist, and I'm I'm using business to create art, or doing art as business, and that's the way I want to shift culture, is by creating businesses that are loving, kind, and human-centric using core. And the most transformational trip that I've done, it was around 6 years ago, no, or maybe less, like 5 years ago. Every carnival, like a year, like in Panama, you take like a week. We used to go to an island with some friends, and in that trip, I saw myself for the first time. I saw the flow. I saw like a magical energy that really inspired me to find that feeling and translate it into my day-to-day life. And from that journey, I've created Psychotropic. I've done a lot of personal growth that culminated in the wedding that Jose is talking about, and that feeling that I saw in that trip, it was then redone through the wedding and through everything that I'm going on now in my life. So I would say that's one of the most transformational trips I've ever done, and that sounds really psychotropic. And yeah, Pape, and I'm complete. I think Jaya, you're next.
Hi everyone, hello from UK. It's dinner time right now, so I'm super hungry, but hi. But seeing you guys make me want to have a glass of wine. I mean, hey, I'm JJ. I've been in love with core since lockdown. I think it has been completely transformed my business and how I interact with my client, and totally taking control of running my own business, and it's growing. And I have met so many inspiring, terrific, wonderful artists, designers, entrepreneurs, like you guys. So I made loads of friends, and I've done a lot of inspiring work because of core. So I'm super excited to be here. And that's me, I'm Jaja. I'm complete.
Pick someone.
Oh, I'm gonna pick Leona.
Hi, Jaja, I missed you.
I miss you more.
No, thank you so much for saying that. No face today because I'm working, but I still wanted to be part of the system. I can't pinpoint. I didn't travel that much, but what I can say, one would be that I went to university in a different city in my country, and it allowed me to find more of my true self and explore creative in general a lot, because we would go visit all the other creative practices besides my own, which was graphic design. And the other one is more of a conceptual trip when I decided to take the business in my own hands. I move away from freelancing and I joined the future and then later the system. I forgot to say that I'm Ioana Balcan and I'm from Romania, Transylvania. And I'm all kinds of stuff that are just mean in some shape or form creative. Because I do strategy, I'm creative director, I'm an illustrator. There's lots of sides. That doesn't matter. And I'm also looking forward to the trip I want to make. Meaning in a country where I can experience, you're gonna laugh, psychotropics. And here is the reason why. Because I want to understand how it is to be connected to everything and let your ego die and just get to the essence of who you are. And yes, core is a tool, but I have learned that it's a way to bond with the client because you're asking them to be vulnerable and you're asking them to kind of put their life in all order and weigh it against what they need to do in their business. And it's a form of connection. But it stems from community and from Jose, which I love. And I know there is medical and scientific research that shows that community can enhance your life for 10 years at least. So yeah, one of the most wonderful trips I had is being in the system so that I live. And I'm gonna pick Marlene.
Thank you. Cousin Marlene. You're on mute. You're on mute, Marlene.
Got it. Okay. Hi. I am in Missoula, Montana, and it's like the Star Wars planet Hoth right now. I think, I'm not sure. I think it's 0 at this point, or it could be 1 right now. But we're all keeping as warm as we can. I'm an art director here, and I do all kinds of crazy things, from design, strategy. I don't know what else I want to admit to, but yeah. And the reason why I love core so much is it made me love strategy. I hated it. Always wanted the copywriters that I worked with. I come from the agency side. So whenever I worked with copywriters, all I wanted them to do was strategy and just tell me what you learn. So now, because of core, I've been able to love strategy. I love collaborating with clients, and it just makes the whole creative process so much easier. And I can't believe how many revisions I do not have anymore. It's amazing. Thank you, Jose. Okay, no, wait. Oh, I need to pick somebody.
The drop-in question is, what's the most impactful trip you've had? And why?
Yes. So
physical trip, by the way, it has to be in the material realm. Yeah.
Oh, I'm glad you clarified that. I would have to say my visit with my mom and my sister to Paros, Greece, because we didn't know what to expect. We just knew it was going to be really beautiful, but we had no idea how gorgeous. And geez, it was just so mellow and beautiful, and the best food, and we met really amazing people, and gotta go back. Yeah, so that would be it for me. And I'm gonna pick Todd, since I just saw that he commented. Go Todd.
Hey, Marlene, nice to see you again. Sorry, I dropped out for a second with
Here,
technology.
I'll bring the screen back on so that you can see the prompt.
My prompt. Thank you very much. I'm Todd Mendeloff. I'm in Los Angeles. I like creating and building stuff. I create and build stuff that can be kind of traditionally creative stuff. I'm a filmmaker, but also businesses and products and stuff like that. And most transformative travel, that's a hard question. I think it was spending 6 months when I was in college in Madrid, Spain. Spain's awesome country, awesome people. But it was the insight that it gave me at a formative age about how much people are the same wherever you go, and enjoy the same sorts of things and aspire to, the same sorts of things in their lives and stuff like that. So I've been fortunate enough to have a lot of good ones, but that's probably it.
Awesome.
And if you haven't been to Spain, go.
It's on my bucket list. I'm surprised and shocked that I haven't been in Spain, even though I was listening to a bunch of Spanish people here at the Starbucks, where down the street in Panama. Pick someone.
Indeed, I don't know who hasn't gone.
I'll give you some hints. Jaja has gone, Ioana has gone, PAPE has gone, Jeremiah and Andrea have not gone. Neither has Jinder.
Jinder, nice to see you. Are you?
Hi. Hi, Todd.
Hey.
Hi, everyone.
Hey.
Hope you're well. Sorry, I'm in London too, and I've just finished eating some spicy food, so apologies. Yeah, lovely to see everyone. And yeah, I have to say, like with Core, it's the impact journey is almost like the hero's journey, and I was able to use that as an example for a customer to kind of like look into a customer turning into a loyal and advocate customer. Yeah, so I'm in London and I'm a UX designer. The transformative travel experience is my second ever trip, and that was to India. That was like amazing. It was amazing to meet my mom's side of the family who all lived there. I'd never met them until I was about 25, 26, and it was really nice to connect. And India is like an experiment. So you get like there's a place called Radha Swami. I'm not religious, but it's like a spiritual place. You can be any religion, but they are a collective. Once you enter the ground, you're in a new country, and they don't dictate to you, a religion. It's a meditation. And I was like surprised. It's like they're always coming up with bringing people together, and trying different things. So Sikhism is like, we don't care if you're prince or pauper, we all sit together and eat, and everyone's welcome to contribute. So that's amazing. People are amazing, and the landscape's amazing. A lot of poverty though, so you get the yin and the yang. So I hope to go there again one day. I choose Amit.
Hi everyone, I'm Amit Shetty. I'm a UX designer based out of Hyderabad. So I'm in the southern India right now. And I think I'm planning to use Core to shift into more of a broad designer role, like with product companies, and change from just UX design to get into more of the business and strategy aspect. That's where I'll be leveraging core, and I've been thinking through and processing it for a while now. And my most transformative travel would be my recent trip to Kerala. So Kerala is the most southern part of India, and I'd gone for my best friend's marriage. And that's where we were just traveling around, and I was traveling to the backwaters. And the difference between the sea, which is regular, which is stormy, which is moving, and the backwater is the same sea which is calm. So that gave me a lot of insight into how we can manage our own thoughts, and that's where I'm trying to now manage my own thoughts and steering my career accordingly.
Beautiful. It's an interesting theme, the trip, the mind part today. Yeah. And Jeremiah, I think, is the only person left.
Awesome. Hello again, everybody. As I mentioned a bit earlier in the call, my name is Jeremiah. I also go by Maya. I'm based here in the United States in Arizona, and I am a strategist and designer. And the people that I tend to partner with are conscious business owners and heart-centered entrepreneurs, as well as holistic practitioners. And the reason that this is going to tie back into, my transformative travel experience, because, I've really been able to connect with myself very deeply through holistic practices, whether that be meditation or breath work, and overall health and wellness. And I see a really deep need in the world for businesses to bring more awareness to these types of practices and medicines, and just really help humanity get back into a more grounded state. So in short, that's basically what I do and who I like to partner with. And in regards to my experience, the most transformative one was a trip to Sedona here in Arizona. It's this really magical, beautiful place in the desert. And on the same theme of like mind, I've had really powerful meditation experiences there. I know how everybody, as we work as creatives and in technology, the way that I feel is in my meditations in that place, it was almost like I was emptying the trash can on my computer and clearing out a whole bunch of stuff that just like I picked up as I was growing up. And it was a really deep release, and it's allowed me to really be in touch with who I am and my mission and my purpose, and move with that with that place of intention. So yeah, that's.
Thank you, Jeremiah.
Yeah.
So beautiful to have you here. And Ava, I forgot. Sorry, you were you haven't gone yet. So last but not least.
Yeah. Hi, I'm so excited to be back and seeing so many amazing people. My name is Andrea or Ava, whatever you want to call me. I'm from Venezuela, but I'm based in Panama right now. And what is the most transformative travel experience? I had to say around, I think it was like 4 years ago, but it feels like yesterday, every day. I had the chance to go to Japan. So it was the first time I went to a digital art museum, and it blew my mind. Like, it literally exploded everything in me to be like, wait, I do have like a place for my ideas. And it just completely changed the way I saw digital art display as being like interactive. So yeah, that completely shifted my path, and I started going that way. So I'm so thankful for that experience. And yeah, go there, because if you have a chance, the culture is like so different, and it's amazing to see that. I learned so much, and yeah, I'm in love with that. I want to go right now.
Japan.
And I'm completed.
Yeah, Japan is a trip. it's definitely an interesting experience. Thank you, Abba, and looking forward to dinner tonight. I haven't, Papa said yesterday he wanted to go, but we haven't confirmed, but at 7-ish at, I forgot the place, but an awesome place that I want to go to. All right, so let's go straight into the core wedding. Thank you everybody for dropping in. Really appreciate it. And, you know, Papa said something to me during the wedding. It was during the reception. He's like, dude, this wedding is made possible by core in so many ways. And he was like, listing it. And like, I actually wasn't accepting it. So I kind of said, you know, like that kind of like, you know, creative person, like deflection. And I went away and I don't know who I was mentioning it to. And they were like, no, dude, you know, just, you know, oh, like receive it. I can't remember. I think it might've been Carlos, who aside from his crazy is also a wizard. And so I kind of went back and we rehabbed the conversation and I said, you know what, I receive it. And a few days ago, I asked Pape to send his core for the wedding. So I have some slides. And Pape, why don't you talk us through, who did you do this with? So tell us the story of using core for your wedding.
Yeah, so I knew like there was 2 wedding planners, my mother-in-law and Monique and me that were involved in the project. So I knew we needed to find alignment. So, and mostly like the objective of this core was to translate it directly into a mood board to make decisions on like tables and decorations and stuff that we wanted to do. So that's the reason we only did look and feeling, like the voice.
Yeah, you did the voice and you did how you want to feel. Yeah.
Yeah, we knew that this would create like the culture, like we knew the family vibes and love and everything. That was the culture that we wanted, and we wanted to be like super colorful and funky. Like when we got the funky, because boho was like too Pinterest, like we wanted color, like we really wanted color, and then we started finding like. From that, the translation was like, where are we getting married? Where is people going to sit down? How will the decoration and flowers? Where will we make the decision? And if you see the image before this one, well, you'll see the translation later. But basically, we were just gathering ideas as a concept before committing into something, and it gave us a lot of clarity in the color palette and like the things that we were looking for, even like for the dress code that we knew that people needed like to have an idea of how to get dressed. And it was kind of complicated because we didn't want something classic. We wanted patterns, we wanted color, when I wanted people to be like funky, like, yeah.
And here, you know, the actual pictures of the wedding look exactly like the mood boards. I mean, this is one of the best art directed weddings I've ever been to. Just, first of all, it takes the award for best wedding ever that I've been to because it was just magical. In every single way, the people, the experience. I mean, look at these people. I mean, these people were legends, just legends. And one thing that healed for me, like, you know, I always judge myself for being kind of loud and obnoxious in like social settings. And that's been a theme, you know, that has played out. And when Paola arrived to here in Panama City and we met for the first time and she walks in like, whoop, and I was like, oh my God, I am not the most obnoxious person in the room. And it felt home. It felt very home. I felt very home in my Latin American family. I mean, Venezuela, Colombia, Mexico City, Colombia, Panama. It's like, it was like a pan-Latino wedding of epic proportions. And here's the most beautiful part. Like, that was gorgeous. As the sun is coming down, everyone's sitting on, like, you know, it looks exactly like the mood boards. And it was amazing. There's video, I mean, I'll do a reel soon, and Carlos also posted all his pictures, but then the reception was so gorgeous and so magical, like in a forest, in a dream state. And this DJ set the next night by Andres Macias, DJ Fat Bastard, was amazing. And it was like, I actually went to Colombia and because he was playing at another venue in Cali this past weekend, and that was super magical. So the portal of like, you know, Latin American, ese amor latino, that el abrazo latino, is just like a powerful experience for me and such a manifestation of it. Go ahead. Comments, anybody? Let's do it.
No, I don't know if you have pictures also. We had like, we didn't want to have like, how do you call it? Recordatorios. How do you say that in English? Like,
oh, the pins. I can actually get up and get the pin.
Yeah, we did some pins, we did stickers, we did like, we made it really fun, like for people to have like something to take away from the wedding. And it was like really like branding the wedding. Like we did illustrations, we did character. Well, I did characters, and we translated that into almost a product that even people now are telling us to get married again because they want another big party and they want more of that. We have like the stickers.
I have them on my laptop, and I also have. Wait, hold on.
No, the filter
gets in the way. Yeah. And I lost my water bottle. I can't find it. I think I left it in your car last night on the floor, or not. All right. I'm gonna have to get another sticker pack then. I'll keep on looking for it. I'm bummed, super bummed.
Pape, best art directed wedding ever.
Thank you. I had a tough client. Monique was like, oh man, she was tough as a cookie, like getting the alignment, and she was really straightforward in asking what she wanted. And like for me, like honestly, this was mostly her dream wedding. Like for me, I would have done something more small, but she wanted something big and huge. So I said, like, you know what? I'm gonna be the translator. I'm gonna use my superpowers to bring this down. And yeah, that's what I did.
It was beautiful. And even the yoga on the beach the next day and all of the, yeah, look for pictures on Instagram I'll post a reel as soon as I can, because it was just super magical. All right. So that is the royal wedding of Monique and Pape in Panama, in Binao. I am now.
I think Jeremiah wanted to ask something.
Oh, please, questions.
Yeah, no question, actually. I just wanted to hop in and say like how dope it is that you've been able to adopt this like business framework and translate it into something personal and something so intimate for your relationships. So I think that it really does speak to how much value that this can be applied, whether it be in business or relationships or whatever it may be, to really find that alignment. So yeah, I just wanted to express that. And I think it's so cool to see how expansive this practice is for more than just business. So thank you.
It's a beautiful comment. Yeah. I'm after this, I'm facilitating a values session for founders from a startup, and it's somewhat based on core, but it's just really aligning attributes, and in this case, values and the actions related to the values. That's one thing that I really do desire at some point, is to release the personal version of core. Like we did it in 2019, we did personal core, which was applying it to yourself with the variances of, you know, what do the attributes in action look like in terms of behavior and in terms of decision making. Because that's one of the things that we try to get in our lives. Like, what is the locus of control in terms of what we do and what choices we make? So it's a beautiful thing. Any other comments? Congratulations. And, you know, Todd, any other like ideas, thoughts, you know, on Papa's wedding? I have so many pictures and we can spend the whole time showing pictures, but.
Yeah, I think something that, and catching the train of Jeremiah's comment, for me, like core, I see it more as just a business framework, and that's why I said like it's really a kind of lifestyle and how I see the world. Like now, we bought a new home. Now we have to decorate the home. That's even a project where we need alignment, we need a mood board, we need clarity. We need to take the steps forward to prioritize, to make decisions, you know? So, and even with your friends and in relationship, like when you see the customer profile exercise, it's an exercise of empathy. You're trying to put yourself in other person's mind and life and understand their needs. And from those needs, you turn them into solutions. That's love. That's how I see love. It's you do what is best for the other person, like what brings the more benefits to the other person. And like really, when I discovered core in 2020, in my journey, it was just, oh, this was the piece I was missing to be able to translate everything that is going on in my mind, in my life, my friendships, my self-identity, my business, my art projects, like everything made sense. And ever since, like, I'm just like, when is the next core session? I just want to run core in everyone, or every conversation is a customer profile exercise or a co-creator profile. You just sit down, ask questions. Where do you come from? What have been your challenges in your life? You start asking and asking the questions. And as Jose said, or a good friend said a long time ago, the secrets of the universe are in the conversation. And core is that. And even in the translation, before I used to be really, oh, we need to do changes. Now changes is just feedback that makes the work better. Like, but you don't do like me that you don't have contracts and then you do like many revisions because you love making the work better. Like put some like thing to charge more for the revisions. But yeah, I love doing revisions because it just really does make the work better. So yeah, that's me.
Charge for the revisions.
Pape, can I ask you a question about using core for your wedding? Despite the whole component of it, of like, hey, how expansive core can be in what it can be used on and applied to, did you have were there any aha moments or like insights about core, or about gaps in it, or about ways that insights? I don't want to lead you anywhere.
Yeah,
anything that you were kind of unexpected things that came up that you know were revealed to you.
Yeah, for me, like the core is so revealing into telling a story or describing something with words. Like the funky love, that was the name of the wedding, that wasn't planned. That was something that came off after we found, yeah, we want boho, but boho is too blah. We want color, so color is funky. It was like, oh, funky love. And then like from all of the conversation, even in the pin, is like, or in the sticker, it says reflecting back on you. Like it's even opening up a conversation with a client, with your future wife, with your friends. You open up the conversation and you always is discovery. You discover phrases that help you tell the story of what you're building. And I feel that that's where I'm always most impressed of core, is the ability to design with words. Like you don't like, for me, that's where I build the brands, is finding the words that help me describe something clearly. And then I just have to find the right typography, find the right illustration, find everything else. But with core, and the first exercise is words. And I think that's where I'm more amazed. And also, like for Monique, like she's an engineer, she's not the typical creative person. Like being able to discover her mind and being able to like translate what she wanted, and being part of that's the biggest project I've ever been part of. Like the wedding was huge, and it helped me realize like, oh man, these are my real capabilities. And like it's team working, it was budgeting, it was everything. Like there was never a fight. there was always alignment, there was always clarity. We always have the channels to communicate. So yeah, but something that I think that, and I was talking with Jose yesterday about it. Of course, I integrated into my lifestyle and my mindset, and that's why for me it's easier. But I think finding the ways to describe it better, to get like, we all see it, but maybe not everyone sees it that way. I think we can find better ways into taking out how our mind process that can be a little bit ADHD, as Jose talks about it. But there's a process that we have that allow us to tap into empathy and get information out, because that's how I use cores, just to discover information.
I think Pape is a unique user, Todd, in that, you know, his web kind of mind and ability to kind of go in and out in 3 dimensions. Like I can do it. There are a few people, and many of them here, who can actually like just see the whole thing, you know, without doing too much or too deep. Which one of the challenges, I said this in, I don't know what conversation I said it, but there's yesterday when we were talking to Nicholas, there's those that need the rails and like the step-by-step, and then there's those that just use it like magic.
Man, and wow, and sorry, but it's crazy to see this now. We did this a year ago, and it says like the feel is spicy, energetic, family vibes, love, connected, being complete, that there's nothing missing, part of a memorable moment, fun, it feels like a party. Jose, how does it describe the feeling? It's like
it described the feeling. I felt like everyone was my family. Like your parents were like so amazing. Like every single person I've met, you know, Ami, you know, Joanna, Carlos, Paola. I remember everyone so memorably. Alejandra, and also. Diego, astrologically, it was a very interesting group that you have surrounded by. It was like very powerful creators, entrepreneurs, creative people. Like I feel and now a sense of not only connection, but purpose relative to our Latin American community. The conversation me and you had in the car, Pape showed me the canal and like the view of the city from the water. In this road here in Panama City. We had dinner last night, and I'm like, wow, this is an intersection of the Latin American diaspora that, you know, you couldn't, you know, even imagine is of epic proportions, and also what's happening in the culture. So the last thing I'll say is I had a conversation with a friend from Art Center who lives here. He's been here for 13 years with his wife, who was head of the Design Association. She's a graphic designer too, here in Panama. She's Panamanian. And we had this conversation about brands, you know, like how there's such an advanced acceptance of multinational brands here, both in terms of fashion, lifestyle, and luxury, but that there hasn't been the ability to create criollo brands, you know, brands that are local beyond like some of the fundamentals, like services, you know, supermarkets, obviously real estate, pharmacies, and those kind of things that are, you know, prominent kind of types of businesses in the culture. And a psychotropic and like a new generation of ideas that are being born. You can see them at Selena, where I stayed here in the city for like 3-4 days. There's something happening, and it's palpable. And it's this switch, and I call it Latin America Rising, that your crew, our crew, that your wedding embodied very tangibly, like who the people are, the consciousness level, the desire to create new types of business that, you know, are aligned at all levels. So when Jeremiah shows up again to, you know, core office hours, you know, the message I'm getting, and, you know, Amit is talking about meditation and, you know, gender shift. All the transformational journeys are around that kind of essence of living a life that is integrated and not different than how most people would you know, whatever we want to call it. I call it the frequency. And then the last thing, and the irony is that, you know, the color magenta, which, you know, Ioana and her team kind of chose for the system, I end up in a club in Cali called La Frecuencia Violeta, the magenta frequency. And the logo was the same color. And the logo was like, and it's like, the night was just like, yeah, this is it. So it's a frequency container that I really am super excited about and grateful to be here. So I am complete. And now we can go into core Q&A or the upload. Yeah, just have a chat, music and no cookies. I'm gonna shut up.
Let's do some Q&A.
I want to hop in for a Q&A. I actually have 2 questions that are open to everybody, and you don't have to necessarily answer both. So maybe choose one that maybe most resonates with you if you feel called to provide a response. But a couple of things that I'm working through right now is whenever I do facilitate core with my clients, I find myself allocating a really long time to it. And that isn't necessarily a problem when my clients are on board with the way that I facilitate. But also I'm looking for ways to just be a little bit more concise. So if anybody has recommendations on that, that would be really awesome. And then the second thing is, I just lost it. So maybe we can just focus on that for now.
It's a good question. So I'll summarize it so that anybody can answer it. How do you make core facilitated sessions shorter, or how do you deal with the length issue? And anybody can answer that. How do you do it, Jaja?
Hey, well, here's the thing. I always found that during the core, if that time, we always say, hey, here is, the bunch of hours we're gonna do, here's agenda, here's our goal. Yes, I'm with you. I do run out of time sometimes, but I think that's okay. Like as long as the client is good, I'm normally just use that time to get to know them a bit more. I mean, kind of the more you're not in control of that time frame, the more relaxed you are, and the client can feel it. They're like, actually, they want to talk to you a bit more, and that's good. I think that's a good thing. But as long as you don't run away, you don't run over for like an hour. I had experience of running over for half an hour, and then but everyone, I think it's you just gotta have that kind of experience to judge the room as well. If people are smiling, if they're like, everyone's energetic, want to hear more, want to talk to you more, you obviously don't want to shut them up, right? So that's how I deal with it. I deal with energy. So I think it's that kind of social intelligence you have to train yourself as well, just to really recognize what kind of room you're in. If there's no one talking, yeah, you're gonna have to, stop a bit quicker, maybe. I don't know. That's my experience. So there isn't a rule. I think it's just use your own judgment. If everyone's happy, want to chat to you, don't stop them. So that's me. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that. The flow way.
Yeah, one thing that helps is having a loud timer, as I said. Like it helps people be aware that, like I always ask for permission. Like, okay, I'm asking permission to take control of the meeting and the time. So I show them the timer. I said we're going to run through these columns in this time, and then just make it really loud so people start like, oh my God, what's going on? But as Jai just said, like, what is the objective of the core discovery is really getting to know the insights, and sometimes when it's a startup or it's a new business, they are actually discovering the business in the conversation. So like those type of clients is, oh man, what I want them is to let them talk, because if I don't discover what's going on, then in the translation I'm just guessing. So it's a pain in the ass, and I would rather take my time in the discovery and discovering, like asking the right questions to get in alignment and prioritize before rushing into a translation. But there's also cases when you have people that are so clear in what they want that they just go and in 1.5 hours, they would tell you everything. They run through it. So yeah, that would be my approach.
Thank you, Jaja and PAPE for sharing. Todd, I think you also.
Yeah, it was just I just put in the chat, but that I mean, it's a loud timer, right? It's time, like actual time boxing. But to Jaja's point, to start with is like, and it's like one of the basics of core is like know your audience, and part of it is like your tiny little core for as you're interacting with your client. Like Jose and I have this, or I guess I've coined this term in talking with Jose about like aspects of core that you just use in everyday interactions, whatever it might be. And one of those is profiling. And profiling is understanding your audience and their needs, right? And you're just applying that to your client. Like, who are they and what are their needs? And trying to get an understanding of, are they going to be one of the clients that's real patient? And or are they going to be anxious, right? And if they're going to be anxious, you time box with that in mind, as much for you as for them, right? Like say, hey, I got to get through this thing in this period of time. What's that path there? And what's the minimal, it's like in terms of product, you talk about minimal viable product, but like minimal viable output that I can get out of this thing. And Jose, I'm sure, is going to speak to it, but one of the things that, he uses all the time and can be very effective is forced ranking, right? Like you get talking about some things and there's a lot of times discussion about, oh, well, that thing has a nuance and that thing has a nuance and this thing has a nuance, and saying, okay, I get it, but rank them for me, like prioritize these things for me if you had to, right? And it has its limitations, but it's one of these things that brings insight. The last thing I would say is sometimes what's causing, it's again like reading the room, what's causing the discussion can be phenomenal in terms of like, hey, it's so much is coming out of it. And I agree with PAPE that like, don't get in the way of that, like be, capturing as much of that as possible. But sometimes it's like you have multiple co-founders, right? And it's like co-founder A has a vision, co-founder B has a vision. And a lot of what's happening is like, well, what about this? And what about that? And what about this? And what about that? And all that sort of thing. And then one technique can just be like, well, here, hey, co-founder A, give me your brain dump. Like no one else speak for 5 minutes and just you give me your brain dump. Let's capture that. And co-founder B, you give me your brain dump, right? So you can get this quick download, right? And get it captured. And it's not about like who one person's ego or not or whatever, because it's ultimately, it doesn't matter what either of them think. It matters what the audience, what their consumer, for their product is, or their business, their service is gonna worry about. So
that's an interesting kind of like a way of deflecting or like taking out the pressure. So like, okay, what you guys say is great, but at the end of the day, we have to validate it and have it from the audience. But right. That idea of getting to a ranking, but go ahead and finish, Todd, and then I'll.
No, I'm done. That was it.
Yeah, no, that was spot on. So I'll say this about how I do it, and just for that question, Jeremiah, and there's startups that have a lot of like left brain people who are very certain and very like analytical. There are more conscious businesses that you're probably dealing with that are used to a very like mellow, facilitated style with specific language, like I'm complete, etc., and the energy has to be like less manic. So I always, no matter what, bring like the game show energy, and I set it up sometimes as a metaphor. I'm like, hey, the goal here is really to align. You can say anything like banana, and I make it funny, and I try to deflect the issue, which is not deflect, but diffuse the issue that a lot of times, because clients have had past experiences where they haven't gotten what they want from a designer or from a team or from an agency, that they're fearful and they want to make sure that everything they say in this particular session is the right thing. So I try to remove the pressure to that by saying, you know, what I have never seen the aligned version of a brand statement using core not be fairly close to what the partners or what the people in the room were originally thinking individually, because they're like, oh my God, it's magical that we came up with the same thing. So really taking the pressure off right at the beginning to get it to land. So one thing I do is I promise, I'm promising you to get you out of this on time. In order to be able to do that, you have to allow me to control the time. And the fun pressure of like, okay, we have 3 minutes, come on, let's do it. We can do it, go, 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 go. And I prompt by saying, go, you do that one. And if there's silence, I fill it in and I say, how about this word? So I try to keep that tap, 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 tap pace going, which kind of gets people a little bit like, woo, this is fun, and sharing. And it's that in itself is a skill to get a room excited about ideation. It is a different tenor. It happens to be a tenor that matches my own personality. But what I'm trying to do is twofold. One, get them to just say what's on their mind intuitively versus overthink. Two, get other people to participate that wouldn't traditionally have participated in the process. Like, let's say for a small company or a small startup, you know, where there's shy people in the background, I make sure that I always call on everyone and that everyone got to participate. And then letting them know that the last thing is letting them know not to make this precious, that after this gets tested in front of customers, it's going to change, right? Or, you know, the manifestation of something like Funky Love, you know, the wedding, it was going to be Funky Love no matter what. Meaning like the people that showed up, the who PAPE and Monique are, the wedding was going to be fabulous no matter what. The fact that it has that layer of cohesion that was created through, you know, the mood boards and doing the brand attributes is like what it's all about, right? So we forget that we are designers, creatives, you know, creators already no matter what, and that whatever we're going to do from an output standpoint will reflect that. The tools that we're using are simply like, you know, handles that we can use to guide it in a much more precise way, but we're already captains of, you know, our work. So that's my thought, you know, it's like loosen it up, make it less precious, even for the conscious businesses, have them have fun and not be too attached to it so that you can do a quick MVP and put out like the first, you know, stats. Because when I do stylescapes, I do 3 very different stylescapes, you know, with different designers and then mix those. I'm always remixing and remixing and remixing and remixing and remixing. The way I work is to really allow for variance and quick variance to get to what the client wants. And when they come back, they're like, we got what we, you know, we participated in the process and we got what we wanted out of it. And it's always a positive thing. So anyway, hopefully that was of value, Jeremiah. And thank you everyone for sharing that question. I think that's the one question we're gonna have. I wanna make sure we end really nicely on time so that it gives me a little bit of space between this and the next session that I'm facilitating. I'm facilitating a value session. Any other questions quickly before we go to the upload?
Hi.
Pat had a quick one that in Q&A that I just threw a couple of answers in on, but
oh my God, Pat, I've seen you so long. Miss you.
She was asking essentially, how do you do core for teams that are internal teams that don't have a lot of time? And my 2 cents on it was just that even internal or external, like teams that don't have a lot of time, you know, that's a recurring challenge. And my quick answer was pick an exercise. Like don't necessarily try to do all of it, right? But try to pick one that you think, hey, I think this would be really helpful and impactful get them introduced to it, get them introduced to like the value that comes out of that, and then, you know, drop another one on them and another one on
Yeah,
them.
it will be over weeks. So you might take 3 weeks to do all the exercises. So in a current project, you know, 90-minute sessions, you know, they're not 2 hours, but they're not 1 hour, because 1 hour sometimes is too short. So I did just the brand attributes and one user in like an hour and a bit on the project. And then people were inspired. So the growth marketing guy ended up doing the rest of the customer profiles and discussed them with everyone. We didn't do the prioritizations exercise, which has created a lot of chaos and a lot of like just thrash. So yeah, shorten the time. Shorten it to do an hour at a time, get them used to the exercises. The most important exercise or part of the exercises is getting to the top 3 and to prioritizing. Like if you gotta always push for that no matter what, like forcefully. Like that's the thing, we're very nice and we're empathetic. We don't wanna impose ourselves. I'm learning that you have to impose yourself. That if you do not walk out of a session with like priorities, you wasted your time. And it's so good to see you. Well, let's do the upload. I'm gonna model it. What did I get out of today's session? I say this almost every time. You know, before the session, I'm like, oh my God, I haven't done a session in a while. I'm nervous or whatever it might be. And then just seeing everyone and being in community, and today having this beautiful conversation about Pape's wedding with the community as a whole. And remember that 3 years ago, the first time Pape was on one of our calls was from the beach, you know, and here I am in Panama. And hopefully we're gonna do the first system event, like physical event in Latin America here in Panama and in Colombia. We're already talking about it last night. We started the conversation, but I'm super excited. It gives me a lot of joy to be with, you know, my Latin American brothers and sisters. And I'm very grateful. I'm grateful to be here. And then next week I'll be in LA and hanging out with Todd. So thank you, everyone. And I will pick Patricia. Oh my God, I have the names.
Hey y'all. Oh, I miss so much being here. It's been a minute, but I feel like I really wanted to attend this one because I was like, Pape and Jose in real life in the same place at the same time zone. I feel like, so I was working and I was like, told my boss, okay, be right back. Because I wanted to jump in here and just share the space, and it's so beautiful to see you. I miss you all. That's all. Love you. Bye.
You missed the picture, so I'm putting them up again. Wedding pictures. Pick someone.
Let's pick Marlene.
Hi, Patricia. Good to see you. I forgot what I needed to say other than thank you so much for sharing this amazing wedding, Pape. Good God, it's just so well art directed. I usually don't think about weddings being art directed, but they should be, because this was great. And thank you so much for your time today. And I learned so much from today's talk. It was so great. Thank you all from Hoth, Montana.
Pick someone.
Let's see, I'm gonna pick Jeremiah.
Awesome. Thank you, Marlene. I appreciate your share. I agree. It's really cool to see how, like event designers can be able to, apply this as well, not just us as, digital designers or brand identity designers. So yeah, thank you for bringing that up. For me today, the most valuable thing that I pulled out of this conversation was, one, how expansive this can be used for all facets of life, as I mentioned earlier. But two, I also want to encourage you, Jose, to really release that personal core, because I think that a lot of people are seeking to be their greatest version of themselves. And if they don't have a template of what that looks like, and they're not in alignment with themselves, then they can use that as a reference point to be able to say, all right, this is what my desired state is. This is how I can get there. So I can see this being really valuable in like the personal growth world, especially for creatives. So yes, that's what I received today, and community as well. It's really lovely to be around everybody and in this space of like-minded people. So thank you for everyone's time, and many blessings and much gratitude. I will go with PAPE.
Thank you, Jeremiah. Yeah, for me, just thankful to be back here. Like everything, like core changed my life in 2020. As you see, I'm obsessed. I'm also like, as Jinder say, I'm quickly went from not knowing what core was to becoming like a super fan, and then saying, "Oh my God, Jose Caballer, he's a rock star. I wanna be a core master and magician. I wanna do what he's doing." And yeah, I've been inspired ever since. And yeah, what I get from today is the same energy that's been going on ever since the wedding. Is the abracito Latino. It's love. It's love. Love is the most amazing energy, and I feel like if we like implement love into everything we do, like things just happen. So yeah, that's what I get from today. And let's go with who? Sorry. Yeah, Todd. Yeah.
Hey, thanks again, Poppy, for letting us share all this. It was awesome. Super, super, super amazing to see. I guess, I mean, so many things, but I think the thing that I take away is the resonance that core has. And to me, that the beauty of that is that it's people that have done it, people that have trained in it, people that have used it in a variety of ways, and then share it with others. It just, the clarity of it, of what it does and its power for people when they see it, and it's like, oh yes, and just being reminded of that, you know, again and again and again. I find myself, even though I'm very familiar with core and the framework and the processes and the methods and all that, you know, I never get bored. I mean, bored is the right way. I always, you know, get value out of being reminded of the impact of the tools and the skills and the exercises. And I can see that happening to all of us as we talk about you know, Pape's wedding, and as people share, you know, stories about other things that they've done. So that's it for me. Iwana.
Thank you, Todd. It was so lovely to hear what your thoughts on and how I loved how you replied to Jeremiah about the core question. Pape, I'm so happy for you and grateful to witness such a wonderful manifestation of love and family. And I wanted to say that it's interesting how many times it's confirmed to me about core of how versatile it is. And it's like in fashion, like where the one size fits all, but actually core actually fits all, but you're just limited. The only limitation would be if you don't let your imagination flow. And I'm just happy to see everyone today, because there's people today that I haven't seen in a good while, and I missed everyone. And I'm gonna go with Jinder.
Thanks, Iwana. Hi, everyone. It's for me, it's connection, and I'm so happy to see Pape's photos of the wedding. They look beautiful, and many congratulations. That is just awesome, and I love the outdoors. And I hope to come to South America one day. There's part of, I saw something by John Leguizamo. I hope I pronounced his
American
name.
History X.
Yeah.
Leguizamo. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I believe like there's like all these chapters that have been lost through history, and there's like that chapter he kind of described in this play I watched. He did, and I'm intrigued with the Incas, that incredible legacy, but I never got that from my schooling, and I'm very excited with the next chapter as well, you know. And it's very exciting, the next chapter, and we're all part of the next chapter. And yeah, it's just mind-blowing, amazing. And I choose, has Andrea, have you been on?
I
No.
haven't yet. Yeah, I have to take out the camera. Let me put it here. Oh, I'm back. Yeah, I'm just like really thankful for today. Really excited to see you, Jose, later today. And one thing that I took out of the entire conversation is like the importance of alignment and expectations throughout. Even if it's a wedding, even if it's someone you're like close with and love, how much easier it like makes it flow when everyone's on the same page and no one feels like lied to, or like they're being better, or their ideas are not counted in. So I'm really taking that, really knowing like who you're talking to, and like that you both want the same thing, and like keep that alignment throughout the entire process. So, and congratulations, Pape. Now I want to get married just to like plan the wedding, but
Core weddings for everybody. You get a wedding, you get a wedding, you get a wedding. We should just all have one big, we all get married to each other. Yeah, that's beautiful.
I'm down.
All right, who's left? That's such a good idea. I think that's everybody. Amit
Jaja?
and Jaja. Okay.
So I can go. So one thing I got from this conversation is we all live in a state of flow, and I think core helps us discover that flow and align with others' flow. I think that's where core makes, like, we are all building our stories, we are all living our stories, but core just makes it more visible, to take more conscious actions, and then follow that flow. And I'm complete.
That's a beautiful insight. Jaja, last but not least. Oh, she can't. She had to have dinner. She was hungry. Well, thank you everybody for being here. It is so lovely to see you all. I want to encourage you to have a good weekend and to flow and enjoy yourself. I know that I need one. Yeah, so much love. That's it. There is un abrazo latino desde Panama. Pape, tonight, Ava's made reservations if you want to make it, or if you want to bring money at ¿cómo se llama el restaurante? Bruto.
Very close to my place. I'm going today. Tonight's the last night of my sister will be here, so we're going karting. If you guys want to go have some adrenaline and bring some cheap beer and empanadas and fritura, like we're going karting. Like,
okay, Ava, do you want to switch our plan from Bruto to karting?
You know what? I'm down.
Down. All right. All right. Let's,
I love
Right,
it.
change of
let's
plans. I
coordinate
like it.
that. Change of plans. Very
You
flow.
guys are making all of us jealous that we can't be there to
True.
cart with you.
Just come.
We'll
Come
put
to
it on
Panama.
Instagram. We'll put it on Instagram.
We've been saying it all the time. Just everyone has to come to Panama.
I have a business meeting to attend tomorrow, which is going to be the whole day long, and I'll just have that Pape and Jose and Ava are carting around. So
Otherwise,
Amit, where are you based?
in India, Hyderabad.
Hyderabad.
like-
Ah,
Yeah, 1:30 a.m. for me, and I have to get
Oh,
up
wow.
at 7 a.m.
early for you and Patricia as well.
Yeah.
we've got pretty nice global coverage today. We don't have anybody from Africa, I don't think. No,
Not today.
but we've got South Asia, Asia Pacific, Europe. Well, Jinder, are you?
Jinder's in London. Yeah.
Jinder, but I don't know. A lot of Brits don't like to consider, like, they're the island. They're separate
Oh,
from
no.
Europe.
No, I wasn't pro Brexit. Yeah, we've kind of cut ourselves off, haven't we?
Well, we've got Europe covered with Iwana. Europe and the island.
I missed Europe. Europe doesn't consider us Europeans.
Huh?
We're not even in Schengen.
That doesn't mean you're
What?
not here.
You're
Yeah,
very
I know.
European.
I know.
Romania's very
I know. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
Well, I'm always left very, very good feelings about the breadth of the world that we cover with these office hours. It's really awesome, really incredible. Thank you, Jose. Nice timing.
Thank you, everybody. Have a beautiful day. I will see you in 2 weeks and on Instagram. Don't forget. You can
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
Remember to get married. Everyone.
Oh yeah. My wedding, my next wedding is gonna be in Panama.
Have a good weekend, everybody.
Have a good weekend.
Goodbye, everyone. Enjoy.
See you later.
Bye.